It's Ted from Mob Rules. So we've got a project, something a little bit different than usual. It's not really a model review this time. We're going to learn how to sculpt fur trim. I'm going to take this little guy. He's a what is it? Acadian, a Caserkin. And so a long time ago, my buddy bought an army off of me. It was an Imperial Guard army. I decided that I was going to make them up to look kind of like Alaskan meets Soviet kind of a thing. So we did a whole bunch of fur parkas all over these guys. So I had to go and sculpt hoods, and then we did fur trim. I say we as there was multiple of us, but it was just me. And then later on, I was pretty much finished, and so I sold it because that's what I do. So he wanted a couple extra guys. So we wanted an extra sergeant, and so let's go ahead and I want to teach you guys how to do some really basic fur trim with green stuff. I got a really simple technique. It doesn't take a whole lot. We're pretty much just going to use an x-acto knife and some green stuff. So I mean, no special tools or anything, but it looks so good. It looks really proper. Now, a lot of these principles you can go ahead and take into your mama's house. No, I'm just kidding. You can take to other things. So if you want to do a fur cape or something like that, 90% of the principle still applies. So yeah, whatever you want to do fur-wise, we got you covered. All right, so let's go over to the messy desk and find out how we do that, eh? All right, everybody. So there's our mini. Here's our green stuff. Excuse me. There's lots of different kinds of green stuff. A lot of times, like I use I guess you can call it gray stuff. It's a brand called Procreate. But right now I'm gonna stick with this. A lot of my, unfortunately, the Procreate that I do have is a little bit old and has kind of, I don't know, calcified or whatever. So we're gonna go ahead and use this. It's something I got from, I think it was Green Stuff World. They had I believe it was them or some other company that was like them. They had whoever it was had a booth at LVO. So last minute, like, oh shit, I can get a ton of that stuff for $10. Hell yeah! So that's what I did. Anyway, so that's the exact same stuff, I believe, that you'll get, or more or less the same stuff that you'll get at through GW. I think they sell this. I typically don't like to buy it from GW. Not that I don't like GW, but a lot of times what I find is it's been sitting on the shelf for a while. And unless I can tell that it's fresh, then I don't buy it. Because it's the same thing with like that Procreate started to calcify. And so then with the stuff at GW, they have like the green and the blue like right next to each other. And so you find that like there's little chunks where they'd touched that they'd started to create that molecular bond. And it was just no good. You know, you end up with like these big boogers, these gross chunks in there. It's like mint chip ice cream. And that's not what we want. Like this stuff is really nice because it's relatively fresh. You know, I got it back in, I don't know, February or whatever. So it has some tack to it, as you can probably see. My fingers like, it's nice and pliable. I really like that. It also means we're gonna use a decent amount of water. I made a little bit extra of this stuff because I do have some other projects that I'm going to use it for. But in this case, we're just going to take a tiny little bit off, just a little sliver. Now, as you can see, I already gave this guy a bit of a little bit of a hood, and then he has the adjuster strap for his hood. I was contemplating whether or not to make like a little buckle on there, but I decided not to. He actually is going to have a lot more work done to him than just this. He is going to have eventually ski poles, and what else is he going to have? I think he's going to have, oh yeah, I'll probably green stuff some straps for his poles. That's probably about it. So we got this tiny little snake. I'm probably not going to use all of this. So I don't know what you'd say this is, like size-wise. But it's pretty small. So then we're going to just drape it over the very tip of his brim of his hood. And I'm just gonna cut it off right there. Hope you stay, jerk. Okay. So we have that. I'm gonna wet my finger and kind of just push it into place. I do that so it doesn't stick to my finger. I'm putting a little bit of saliva on my knife so it doesn't stick to that. I'm just going to pat it down a little bit. Oops, it'd be nice if I kept it on the camera. Okay, so patted. Now, the thing I'm going to do with this is, generally with fur, the common mistake I've seen people do is they end up sculpting. All right, let's say this is your plane of fur. They start sculpting and they start like dragging fur down, and then they drag it down some more, and then they drag it down some more and drag it down some more. And for me, it looks really unrealistic, because what happens is the way they're dragging it, it is contrary to how fur lays. So basically what they're doing is they're creating this thing where the top fur is actually under the bottom fur. So it's like, I don't know how you can't really do it because I have a hand, but it's just unrealistic. And the thing is like, if you look at hair and fur, if it stands straight up, it's parallel, of course, but as soon as you lay it down, you have the top fur kind of, it's not as far down as the bottom fur, if that makes any sense. So what we want to do is we want to sculpt it, essentially sculpt it in layers, but we're not actually going to sculpt it in layers. We're going to make the illusion. So we start here, and then we start like dragging material over so that you have like this layered fur effect. For this, I'm really only going to make like 3 passes at it. So what I'm going to do, wet my knife, and I'm going to start with the front. And I'm just going to make little slits, just a series of little slits. It's really simple. And that's why I'm telling you to, I'm not asking, I'm telling. I'm saying use an x-acto knife, because we want it to be really fine. I mean, it is fur after all, right? No, it's not, it's green stuff. And then we're going to rotate. So once I have that, that's basically going to anchor this piece a little bit to the front. So then we go ahead and we start pulling to the back. So I'm going to make 3 passes, like I said. The first one is going to be in the front, and then I'm going to make 2 that are kind of heading towards the back. And the nice thing about this knife is that it's not, other than a couple little areas right here where it started to make like a little bit of a loop, for the most part there aren't loops. And that's something that ends up happening when you use a bigger instrument. Okay, it looks like this isn't anchoring properly. So I'm going to go up here, and then I'm going to pull it out on top of the next little section. Okay. So you end up with all these little, I mean, they're basically slits, but it does kind of create a layer effect. Okay, now I'm going to go back over here. All right. I think I'm going to go back. So it looks like it kind of receded right there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it back over and kind of pull it down a little bit. Oops. And push it down. Yeah, there we go. See, it's so realistic. The cat is coming to check it out. And then I just kind of pat it over so it looks, so you can kind of, hey kitty. Yeah. You kind of see what I'm going for? And honestly, you thought this was going to be a really in-depth video, but that is it. All right, let's see if we can squeeze in there. That is all. Once you get that guy painted up, it's going to look amazing. It's going to look just like fur. What do you think? Simple as hell, or what? You just became a master fur sculptor in like 2 minutes. So yeah, go ahead and try it. Try this technique on a cape, pelts, whatever, man. Just take that. All you do is just continue it. If you want to do a cape, start at the bottom, do little rows, and slowly work your way up, doing this exact same process. And there it is. I think the only difference with a cape is that you're not going two different directions. You know, with a cape, you're kind of just going one direction, so you might need to change up how you do the very top. Instead of going one direction and the other, it would all be the same, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so anyway, that's it. I hope that helps you, and we'll see you later. I don't know how to say goodbye, so let's not say goodbye. Let's just say see you later. Bye.